Class is now in session. I'm Professor Hockey, and today we'll be discussing some expected but still exciting news coming out of the San Jose Sharks camp today, and that is that the Sharks have re-signed defenseman Shakir Mukhamadullin to a one-year, $1 million contract. And the reason I say that this was expected is that it was just a couple of weeks ago that we heard rumors that the Sharks and Mukhamadullin were getting close to a deal, but it is nice that today we get the official confirmation from the Sharks themselves that a contract has been reached. And it is good to see because Mukhamadullin had a pretty solid season with the Sharks this year. It probably didn't go exactly as he was hoping for. I imagine Mukhamadullin was thinking that he'd be able to become a full-time NHLer this season, and it didn't quite go down like that simply because injuries derailed the beginning of the season for him. He didn't get to participate in training camp or in preseason, and so instead of starting the year with the Sharks, he had to start the year with the Barracuda, and he honestly wasn't that great in the minors through his first few games. Luckily for him, however, he's high enough up on the Sharks defensive depth charts that they were going to bring him up to the NHL anyway, which is what happened in December. And at the beginning, he spent time on the third defensive pairing, sometimes even as a healthy scratch as that seventh defenseman. But as more spots began to open up within the Sharks defensive core with the major injury to Jan Rutta, then the early February trade of Cody Ceci, and then the early March trade of Jake Wallman, Mukhamadullin started to work his way up the lineup, going from third pairing defenseman to second pairing defenseman, and eventually even as a top pairing guy for the Sharks. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that Mukhamadullin thrived in a first pairing role and oh my god, he's absolutely an outstanding defenseman already. He was clearly quite out of his depth in this position, but we saw the signs of certain fundamentals that make you believe that Mukhamadullin can become a successful, maybe not top pairing guy, but top four guy for sure, moving into the future. Because if there's one major issue that a lot of these young defensemen have as they come into the NHL, is that they tend to kind of overthink a lot of situations. This is a problem that exists for Jack Thompson and Henry Thrun, other young Sharks defensemen, where they'll take that extra half second on the ice to hesitate, to think, should I go box out this player in front of the net? Should I lead with the body or attack with my stick? Should I do this? Should I do that? And these half seconds can cause you to fall ever so slightly behind the play, and because things move so fast in the NHL, that can be a major issue. But with Mukhamadullin, he doesn't seem to have any of this overthinking in his game. He plays by instinct and with a certain level of confidence that is necessary to have success in the NHL. He's not overconfident, he doesn't think he already knows everything, but you can tell he is very sure with himself. And I think that also is reflected in the contract that he ends up signing, because the Sharks were in a very similar situation last season with another young defenseman, Henry Thrun. He was up for a contract, and he ended up also getting signed for $1 million per season. But instead of a one-year deal, Thrun had signed a 2-year deal, giving him that extra little window to prove himself at the NHL level, to set himself up for a potential longer-term extension worth more money in a couple of years. And it was smart that Henry Thrun ended up taking this extra season, because as we see right now, after just 1 year, I'm definitely not ready to give Henry Thrun any more money than he is currently making. He still needs to show that he is even just a top 6 defenseman in the NHL, never mind even a middle pairing guy. But with Mukhamadullin, he signs for just 1 year. He understands the reality that the Sharks simply cannot give him a major extension at this point. He simply did not play enough games in the NHL this year, just 30 of them, even if it was a solid showing. But he believes that as long as these injuries don't end up occurring yet again, that next season he can come into it, he can be that full-time NHLer, and he can show himself worthy enough of actually getting a slightly longer term deal this time next season. So it again reflects on the type of confidence that Mukhamadullin has in himself as a player. You can see that off the ice with this type of negotiation. You can see that on the ice with his play, and it is exciting to see what he'll end up doing with the Sharks next season. It's hard to say at this point where exactly he will fit into the Sharks lineup. Right now you look at it and you're thinking, okay, obviously he's going to be a top 4 guy. Him and Mario Ferraro are the 2 left-handed defensemen on that side. However, we don't know the trades that the Sharks will end up making. We don't know the off-season signings that the Sharks will end up making. We don't even know if next season certain training camp and preseason guys like Sam Dickinson could end up surprising everybody and becoming a top 4 guy with the Sharks. You can't completely count that out as a possibility, but what we can say for sure is that Mukhamadullin will be a part of the Sharks team in some manner, and hopefully he'll be able to continue the success he started last season and bring it into the future. Class dismissed.